Alright, let's see some Allis's. Here's a 220. 220. A bunch of 220s. This is a pre-production 220 test tractor. This is all like lined up. 220. Here's a 210. 220s again. The D15. 220, a 185. 190, 185, 70, 45. Here's a 70, 50, 70, 80, 220, 220, a D19. Here's a 2540, 1930 version. A D12. A box. $190 Series 3 XT WD-45. I learned that these have a curved handle shifter. The WDs are straight. Here's a 170 loader. A 70, 45, 70, 60, 80, 50, 85, 50. That's massive. Big L. 190.
The one on that was like 170 or one. I don't think
so. It's a 175. Another 175. Crop Hustler with a full bottom. There's a D17. With a 3 bottom. See, it mounts on there. Their version of the 3-point. D19. Here's a B 1937, a 620 garden tractor, 220. Here's a 180. Four D21s in a row. D17. Here's a 220. CA with a belly mower. Run off the PTO. Not right off the PTO shaft, but off of the side here. Here's a B asparagus. It's a WD. See the straight shifter. So there you go. 190 D17 200. Cute little baler. D15. CA, another CA, a WC, WD-45, D17, 210. This is a B high crop, single front. Here's a 1939 B orchard. Here is a G. '48 Allis-Chalmers G, one of the original toolbox G's in the Allis-Chalmers LaPorte, Indiana plant. It's one of 3 known to still exist. Roy Woodruff, who owned Woodruff and Sons, had it painted the Woodruff colors after buying it at the Allis-Chalmers liquidation auction in LaPorte. It's currently owned by Chuck and Sue Wilfong. They also own the other 2 known to exist. This is a, I don't know, what is this, a U? Oh, an A, 1938, it's an old one. 1937 WF. Here's one of these, a TG24 shop mule. WD-45, WD, D17, D14, 190 or more, WD-45, 620, 720 garden tractors, CA, Agcor Alice 918H. Here's a D17, D15, and a D12. Here's a 210, 1971, D21, 190 XT, 210, 220. Not full-wheel drive though, just turf tires in the front. A WC B17. So here's an original, here's painted. This must be a D as well. This I believe to be, there's a D15. Oh, it's a 17. Here's a, what is it, a B? It's pretty small. With 2 bottom. Oh, it's a CA. D17. Another CA. This one's got cultivators. This is a mouse. Cultivators. D17. Another one. WD-45. WD-45 with loader. Alice 200. 210. 200. 200, 210, 210, 200, D21, D21, 210, 210, 210, 220, 210, 210. There's a 70-45 and 1984 80-95. Four bottom rollover, 5 bottom rollover. This one's a 4-bottom rollover. Here's a 220 4-wheel drive, mechanical front. Got a 220 or 220 front wheel. Another 220 front wheel. Second front wheel, 220 known. The 69 Allis-Chalmers built 4 experimental 220 two-wheel drive tractors. Serial numbers 1000 to 1003. These pre-production prototype tractors were tested at the Allis Proving Grounds in Franksville, Wisconsin. Larry Grunberger was the lead engineer of this project. Put the pause it if you want to read the rest. Here's a 220 4-wheel. And another 220 4-wheel. Another one.
That one there is axle 14. I was doing 20 later. It's axle 10. So I think they just got trimmed in axle.
Get another 220 4-wheel. Another one. And another. Here's a little model. Here's some Allis saws, chainsaws. I know this one for sure was a Poland Super 25DA clone. Also made it in a Craftsman. I think it's like a 2.1. Some little scale models. Couple more over here, and that's the end of them. This one just showed up with an Allis-Chalmers mini bike on the back. $220, 1970. There's that. Another 220 four-wheel. Another 220 4-wheel with year-round cab. $220, and another 220. And here's it. 2 more 220s, 4-wheel drives. 1 of 100 built. Quite a few of them here. An 8070 Allis-Chalmers. I always like the looks of these. They look pretty cool with that tapered grill like that. There's this 4W220 Allis. That's a monster. Allis D21. This is the last D21 built. 1969. There's 111 built the final year. Alright, the first D21 was back. It was out for the parade. I get this little Allis-Chalmers WD-45 here. This is a propane dual fuel LP and gas. Right there, you can see it. Get a Clear Vision Plus dual fuel system with WD-45 LP fuel front tank installation, so it's not always blocking your view. Neat. Let's get some Fords. Here's a Model 600. Here's a 1939. A Ford Ferguson system. So this should be a 9N then. Why is it gray? Here's an 8N. Model 960. A 641 Workmaster propane. An 8,000. Weren't these the first to 100 horse? I think they were, not first two, but at first of Ford's to 100, I think they were.
Maybe, I don't know that much about that model.
I think they were. Fordson Model F, 1926. Ford 2000 Industrial with a, it's like a dirt scoop scraper. There's a, oh, this would be an 8N grader. Here's a 1950 8N with the funk conversion. (1952) 8N. God. Here's a 59 Ford 800. Ford 6000. Diesel. Got some John Deere stuck in here. This one's pulling a disc. And I missed that little 3 bottom there. Little Ford 3 bottom on this. Here's an interesting one. Set that funk again. Ferguson system. (1946) Ford 2N. Here's a 2000 Ford 4000. Ford did what was called known as the famous handshake agreement with Ferguson for the 3-point, and then they realized how many Ford was selling, so they sued him for patent infringement. But Ford kept making them; they didn't stop, and that's where Oliver saw the market for the utility tractor and designed the Super 55. These were selling a lot.
Ferguson made their own tractor, and then after a little while they teamed up with Massey-Harris and then made Massey Ferguson.
True that. I think I got this. Ford 4000 Selecto Speed and a Fordson Major diesel. There's some little guys. This would be a 8N, 52 8N, another 8N, yeah, NAA. So this was the replacement of the 8N. Oliver knew that they were going to upgrade it. So they upgraded the 8N to this. Here's an 8N, looks like. Yeah, 51 8N. Ford 2000. Here's a little Ferguson. Ferguson 30. Kilo 30. Ferguson tractor here, not a Ford. Even though there was a Ford back there, it was gray. There's probably a story to it. Here's a 960. $800. 1960. Here's that 981 selective speed. Why was it painted like this? Gold demonstrator, that's why. There's a Fordson with a disc plow. And 971 selective speed. Selective speed should be up here. Yeah, right here. 4-cylinder. Ford 4000. The digger. And a few more back here. And 801 Power Master. One of these are pullers. 900 and a 640. This one's got like a subsoiler on it. Oh, I got a couple more over here. It's hard to get them all. That's a 43 Ford 2N war model on steel. That's probably why it's a war model, because they used more steel back then. That was one of the agreements with Harry Ferguson, is that he wanted his name somewhere, so the Ferguson system was put on somewhere on the tractor as the agreement. But had they not done the handshake agreement, it would have been a lot different as far as a lawsuit. 501 offset Workmaster cultivators. 6,000.
She doesn't do it for a living, she does it on the side, but she's really good at it.
And this is 8N, a 6-cylinder Funk. Here's a Mini 900 2/3 scale. And this one is a 39 9N. I know they did aluminum hoods on here, and I think that's what this is signifying. Same problem Oliver had, where they need a shortage of steel. I'm not sure what that. That's probably what it is. All right, I'll start out with this Ford here. Here's a Massey 148, 1973. A 178 Massey-Harris 55, 1951 model. A 150, 1100. Here's some little ones. Here's a little 1855. Little lawnmowers, 7 and 8, 10, 12, 14, and 16. Here's a 130, 135, 150, 165, 175, 180, 1080, 1100, 1130, and 1150. There's a 1100 narrow front, 180, 130. There's a Massey Ferguson 35. Look at how narrow that one is. That is cool. 835 DVI Vineyard, made in France, 1960. Here's a 130 vineyard. Also made in France. Alright, keeping on going here. Massey-Harris 33K. Is the K kerosene? I don't know. Generally they had different manifolds on them. Let's see here. I'm thinking so. I'm thinking that's a switch to switch it. That line going to the other side. The line comes over here to here. I'm thinking that's the gas tank and then kerosene. I'm thinking this is kerosene. There's a Massey-Harris Colt 1953. That's the little one. Massey Ferguson 1130. Massey-Harris 44 LP. Can't be a whole lot of them out there. Massey-Harris 44 with a mounted picker. 44 LP as well. There's the regulator. And here is a Super 101. Massey-Harris 1939. For 39, that was styled pretty streamlined. Nice looking tractor. And then back here is a plow, 3 bottom. Let's see what this says. It's a pulverator, the plow combine. Made by General Implement Company, distributed by Massey-Harris. And a little thing here, 2 bottom. Let's look at this. Look, it does pop cans too. That's pretty cool. Like they got the gauges mounted on the like a cover of the propane cylinder. Here's an 1150, 1130, the Massey-Harris 44 high altitude. High alt. Harris 30, Ferguson 88, diesel, Massey-Harris 44, and 1958 Massey-Harris 50. Here's a 180. Another 180 with a loader. 65. 1958 model. Repainted in 08. Let's get some cases. Here's a case 75 pull type combine and pulled by a 400. Here is a case 500B LP. Nice. I still like the ones that have the rust and stuff. I like looking at how they've weathered over the years, and case 430. Something like that tells a story. Like it's probably sitting out how long, whereas something like this is probably inside more. Spirit of 76 case. 1175, 1370, 970, CC case, 1936. Hole in a 2-bottom. Nice little 2-bottom. Magneto on there. Here's a nice little case. Here's a case of D. And 430. This one's got a manure spreader. Be a little ground driven one, so you don't have PTO. I like the ground driven one, that's cool. Full of horses or a 4-wheeler, whatever you want. You use a case 190 lawnmower and a 400. Here's a 442. Case demonstrator. 782 Cub Cadet IH. And a case 824. Here's a case 1170. And 1090. Case 830, a 630, 1070, 1970 version, 830, 900, 800, another 800, 830. Here's a little one. The Woods Bellymore. It's like a VAC. And a 430. And a crawler. Here is a little VAC, nicely painted. Kind of stationary. A couple of them. Here we have a case 1270 Agri King, case 970 Agri King. Case 500, 830 high crop, International 986, 1896, 7210, 5088. Here's a little one. Here's a DC. DC case. Chicken roof steering. Do you like Oliver tractors and equipment? If so, you can show me support by hitting that thumbs up or thumbs down if you hated it. Leave a comment. Consider subscribing, it's free. YouTube will notify you when I release a new video. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.